So he's a little bit hesitant at the moment. Let me give him a second. He has 1 foot on my glove. The other one is staying close. There we go.
Hey, is that eagle a boy or a girl?
This is Gladdy, and he is a male bald eagle.
Hey, what's his name?
Glad.
Glad.
Yeah, Gladdy. Gladdy.
Gladdy.
Yeah. Gladdy.
Hey, Gladdy, what's up?
So far he's doing all right. Let's see how he does. It's okay. I can tell that he's not totally comfortable. So we'll see how he does. And if he gets too nervous, I will put him back just because I don't want to force him to do anything. But that's partially why we carry these little bits of meat with us as a way of helping him to calm down when he needs to. Want some food? Oh. So he ate food in front of all of you, so that's a good sign he's getting more comfortable. If he wasn't eating any of that food, that could be his way of being very cautious about his surroundings. Now, Gladdy here is 28 years old.
Whoa.
25 to 30 in the wild. They sometimes will get up to 50 in human care, but that's rare. And he's with us because of a dislocated elbow. You will notice that his right wing is hanging a lot lower than the left one. And we don't know exactly what happened. We think he may have ran into something. Now, bald eagles, if you want to see them out in the wild, it's actually pretty easy to spot them in Minnesota. We have the second largest population of bald eagles in the country. The first is Alaska. That's because they have an ocean, so they're technically cheap. But the reason we have so many bald eagles is because we have plenty of lakes. And their favorite food to eat is fish. They are great at swooping down and catching fish from the water. But during the winter, when everything freezes, they have to change what they eat. Because they don't migrate, they stay here. So they actually become scavengers during the winter because they're great at catching fish, but terrible at catching anything else. And that has actually been an issue for bald eagles because we have found a lot of them in the wild are getting lead poisoning. Because folks, when they're sometimes hunting or fishing, will use lead ammunition and lead weights. Not to say that hunting and fishing is bad by any means, but despite people's best intentions, sometimes they can get left out in the wild, and that ends up in a lot of the different types of meat that eagles like to eat. If they get too much lead, that can, unfortunately, make them sick. But bald eagles love to make their nests near big bodies of water. If you ever see what looks like a big pile of sticks up in a tree, probably bald eagles. Because their nests can get very big. I think the heaviest weighed up to 1 ton. And they get larger and larger. They add to it each year they come back. And they will actually mate for life. So each year they'll come back to the same eagle to the same exact spot to lay some eggs. And when they do, it's usually between 2 and 3 eggs. Just because, as I mentioned, they reach their full size in less than a year. So there's only so much space available for them to have multiple babies in them. Great job. Hopefully he will not be going to the restroom anytime soon. When they do, they can do it up to 6 feet because they have to be able to do it over the side of their nest. They don't want to get dirty. They don't want to create any smells to attract other predators. It's something they have to be careful about. You may notice that Gladdy here, despite being a bald eagle, is not actually bald.
Whoa.
And that's because the word bald used to mean white-headed, and even though the word changed, their name still stuck. So the juveniles actually are covered in brown feathers, and they don't get white feathers on their head or their tails until they're about 5 years old. That's when they're considered fully mature or an adult. You may also notice it looks kind of like he's frowning a bit. And that's just because, number one, he's professional, but number two, there is a bone that is protruding right above their eye called the orbital ridge. And that actually helps to keep the sun out of their eyes when they're hunting or fish. Now, bald eagles were highly endangered about 30, 40 years ago because there was a pesticide that was affecting them. They did not realize why bald eagles were initially disappearing, which is why they passed the Bald Eagle Act, to try and prevent people from hunting them. But it turned out that there's this pesticide called DDT that farmers were using to protect their crops from pests, and they had no idea what the impacts were. But DDT, whenever it rained, was very soluble in the water, so it would end up getting washed away from the crops, and it would end up in lakes and streams. It would get absorbed by the fish. The eagles would then eat the fish, and the pesticides would affect them in the way that they lay their eggs. Because those eggshells are made out of calcium, and they were still laying eggs, however, they were very, very soft. So when they went to go sit on them and keep them warm, they were crushing a lot of their own eggs. Once we realized that this pesticide was affecting not just eagles, but other animals too, they outlawed the use of it. And since that has happened, their numbers have basically doubled in the last 30 years. So just another reminder about how
Ta-da!
That looks familiar. I got a couple of them on my car.
Another example, cattle raptors like this are an indicator species. Alright, we're going to go back. You did a great job.
Whoa!